What's going on? Welcome back to Real World Tool Reviews. Today is going to be part 2 of the My Favorite Tools series that I started last week with the My Favorite Hand Tools video. This here is going to be my favorite power tool video. And power tools, I've got a ton. And, some really good ones missed the cut for this video. The ones I'm going to show in this video are just like ones that I would recommend to anybody that I know are just awesome, that I know are reliable. I feel like power tools, the market for power tools these days has gotten so gimmicky and marketing heavy, and they come out with all these new different drills and all these different power tools, especially cordless power tools these days. It's like, you don't need to get the newest version of everything. It's not much different. And man, they're really expensive. And they've got all this marketing, all these YouTube channels that really pump up these cordless power tools and stuff. But I think if you get a quality thing, and it'll last you a long time, and you don't need to upgrade constantly. But you got cordless and you got corded. And what I'm going to talk about first is my favorite cordless power tools. And these are the ones that have just made me money, helped me in my career. You got to have power tools. And the first ones that I'm going to highlight here are really just all of the 20 volt max XR Dewalt tools. I'm just showing you the ones that are my 3 favorites from this line of tools. And that's the oscillating tool, which, I have used this thing so much, and it's just awesome. I've talked about it in other videos, going over the different things I love. I love that blade change. It's just the best blade change for an oscillating tool ever. It's got a good variable speed trigger, and the way Dewalt does their handles for their drills and saws and stuff, it fits to your hand just better than anything else, I think. So that oscillating tool is awesome. And there's a lot of different sawzalls you can get. I have the mini Milwaukee one-handed saw, and it's awesome, but it just doesn't have the power that I want it to have most of the time. And it's the fuel one. It's good, but it's not for it being small, for what I use it for, most of the time it's fine. But like, if I need to really cut something in half, this is the one I grab. I actually don't have a corded sawzall anymore, just because, I need to buy a new one. The one I had kind of crapped out. And but this one has gotten me through every job where I needed a sawzall. You use them for all kinds of stuff. I use them for cutting limbs, cutting pipe. It's like I find myself needing to cut something in all kinds of strange times. I never really expect it. But, anytime you're tearing something apart, cutting a bunch of screws and nails, whatever, anytime I'm building something, like when I was building my garden box, I cut a bunch of 4x4s with this. And it's just got the power, but it's also super compact. And that's really what's cool about this. It's got this cool blade change here. Just that little lever that you pull up. And you can put the blade either in this part or in this part horizontally. So that makes it to where you can have it pointing flat like this. You turn it. You can orient the blade a few different ways. And that's really a cool thing about Dewalt's sawzalls. One of these days I'm going to get me one of those Milwaukee corded super sawzalls when I really need to do some major sawzalling, And then the best, like, I don't know, this drill, I just love it. It's not the newest. This is the DCD 996 hammer drill. It's got so much power for a cordless drill. It's crazy. They have come out with so many newer versions of drills. Dewalt has, and everybody else has, and they've got newer versions of these tools. This one, I know they've got a few different newer models, but I don't think they're any better than these ones. And you don't need to get like the new one every year, the new most expensive one. This is the XR brushless. It's got 3 speeds. It's got the hammer function that actually does pretty well, as long as you're not doing like a half-inch hole or something for like drilling a hole in concrete. It's just a beast. It's just a solid beast of a cordless drill. And I love these 20-volt Max. They're really 18-volt tools, but man, they're the 20-volt Max Dewalt line. The XR is great, and those are just my favorite ones. And then I got some little 12-volt favorites, and I've got a lot of 12-volt tools too. And it was hard for me to pick. Really, probably my favorite power tool that I own is this little Bosch 12-volt screwdriver, little drill. It's kind of like a drill without the chuck, so it's shorter, and it's just got the little quick chain. That's basically what it is. It's like a drill driver without the chuck. So I think it's got the same motor and everything. This thing is just the best little, like, handy little screwdriver, drill a hole, put something together, take something apart, everyday use little drill. This is the best one you can get. I've got 12-volt Milwaukee stuff too. The Milwaukee one, I've got that. They've got a screwdriver too. And I've nicknamed this one the M12 Pencil Sharpener because that's about all it's any good for. This is the old brushed one. Really, the main concern, the main thing that pisses me off about this one is even with a smaller battery on it, it's big. Like, compared to the Bosch, it's just like way too big for it to be just a little, like, little screw turner, you know, just like to take little screws off of something. This one's just annoying how big it is for that, you know. So that's why I love this one. And Milwaukee makes a brushless one that's big too. It's nowhere near the compact size. And this one is so light. It's just awesome. It's got this belt loop or belt clip. I'll just throw it on my belt, go up a ladder. This thing is just with me all the time. I love it so much. Maybe my favorite power tool ever, really. And then the other 12-volt tool that I have come to just love is this M12. I've had it for a few months, but it's already just become the only Dremel I use, like Dremel or rotary tool or whatever you want to call it. It is so convenient to have a cordless one of these rather than have that cord when you're trying to move it around. And this is just, everybody needs one of these. I have a corded Dremel that I keep in my truck all the time. They're just super, super handy. You need to cut a PEX ring or cut a bolt, cut something like a toilet bolt or something. Or what I use this for a lot, obviously, is my tool restorations. And I'll put like these little wire brushes on them and get those hard to reach places. A million uses: polishing, cutting, anything you can think of, engraving, etching stuff. There's just drilling holes. You can do whatever you want with. They make so many attachments for these tools. They're just amazing. But this M12 one, it's so light and it's so, you know, versatile, and it actually doesn't eat up the batteries nearly as much as I thought it would. I thought it was just going to chew through the batteries like crazy. It's not that bad. They actually, you know, it'll last you a longer time than you think it will. And man, it's got some speed on it for it to be just. And these are cheap. Like, this is the old brushed version. I don't know if they have a brush. I don't think they have a newer version of this, but they've had this one out forever. Man, it's got some juice. It really exceeded my expectations. This tool did. It's one of my favorite power tools, definitely. So those are my favorite cordless ones. I've got a lot more cordless tools that I love but not enough to be on my favorite tools list, you know. The market for power tools has just taken off insanely in the last several years. Oh, well, I lied. This is the last cordless tool, and it's a Dewalt tool also. It's not an XR, so I didn't include it with the other Dewalt XR stuff. But this is my 6.5 inch. This is the brushed version, Dewalt skill saw, and it is freaking awesome. Now, I haven't gotten the newer brushless version yet. Someday maybe I will, but this one, it just keeps on going, and I just don't see any reason to get rid of it and buy a different one, like just because there's a newer one. But the newer one has like a little bit shorter, a smaller motor. It's brushless. It's not as big. The battery is supposed to last longer, but man, you throw this 6 amp hour battery on this saw, and I mean, it lasts a good long while. And I'm not building a house when I'm using this damn thing. I'm just cutting some boards, you know. I'm just doing some quick cuts. So I don't need the battery to last forever, you know. If I'm going to be doing, and so this is just an awesome tool. I've talked about it in other videos. I'm not going to go crazy talking about it. But that is definitely, perhaps my favorite, really. I've come to love this thing. It's come in handy for me so many times. Because when I'm cutting wood, a lot of times I just need to cut a little bit of wood, not like, you know, not like a crazy giant amount. But sometimes I do, and I do work on stuff, like especially at my house. I build stuff at my house. I've built stuff for other people, built shelves, you know, done a lot of stuff. You know, worked on people's decks. Someday I might build a deck at my house, and every man's got to have one. And I've done a video on this one, but this is my corded skill saw. I call all these skill saws. It's a circular saw. Skill saw was the first one to come out with them a long time ago, I guess. You know, it's kind of like channel locks or Kleins or whatever. I just call them that. But this is my corded skill saw, and I've done a video, a review just on it. You guys, a lot of you guys probably saw it. This is one of my favorite power tools for sure. It might be my favorite one. I don't know. I've had this one a couple years, and I love this saw because it's got, you know, it's got all the features that you really want. It's got a long, good, thick, like nice cord. That's great to have a long cord. That's really good. A lot of people put longer cords on their skill saws. This one came with a pretty long one. That's good. It's the magnesium. All this stuff is magnesium, so it's not going to break. It's not plastic, and it's lighter than like steel. You know, it's got very little plastic. All these adjustment levers and stuff. This is all metal. And on most saws nowadays, that stuff is plastic and it'll break. The blade is on the left. They call this the southpaw. And it's not really made, like, I think it's better to have the blade on the left if you're right-handed. They market it as kind of like a left-handed saw. Some people like these kinds of circular saws to have the blade on the right. Some people like it on the left. I like it on the left. This is just, if I need to cut a bunch of wood, this is just a steady, powerful, won't let me down, awesome, awesome tool. So, for that reason, it really is one of my favorite power tools. And maybe my favorite is actually one I got recently. But this really might be my favorite power tool just because I've had the most fun with it. And that's my Delta belt sander. Just my little 1-inch by 30-inch belt sander. This is an awesome tool. It just is. I got it in an estate sale, excuse me, for $60. And it's just an older Delta belt sander, and I just love it. I mean, it's great for like sharpening chisels, or, you know, if you like to make knives. People use this kind of belt sander for making knives. I've never made a knife, but maybe someday I will. It's just a really fun tool to use. I use it mostly for tool restorations, as you guys know. Here's a good example of a tool that I fixed up mainly using this. This is a pair of their old Channel Lock brand. Now you got to be careful with this. That's how I learned. Just don't touch lettering with the belt sander. I was like, maybe if I just kiss it, I'll get that rust off, and I won't mess up the lettering. Well, I did, and that kind of made me sad. The Channel Lock name's a little messed up, but the rest of it is so beautiful, and they're just really well-made pliers, and now I use them all the time. This used to be needle nose pliers, but it was one of those, you know, old needle nose pliers where somebody really just messed up the ends. They had ground the ends off because they had gotten all splayed out, and but it looked terrible in the end. So, but this belt sander completely flattened it, and now they're like kind of a mini duckbill pliers, and they've become some of my most used pliers. They're super, super nice. And but look at that finish that I was able to get on these handles and on this other side. I mean, look how beautiful. These were in horrible, horrible rusty shape. And this belt sander really did the trick for them. And it works awesome for a lot of that tool restoration stuff. And, you know, if you need to sharpen a chisel or, you know, wood, you can sand wood with it, put all different kinds of belts on these. They're, you know, it's a really versatile tool, but it's really a nice one. This Delta is made in Taiwan. I don't know how old it is, but it was, you know, somebody had it in their workshop, and now I have it in mine. And I just love it. I just love this thing. Now, there are a lot of power tools that I have that didn't make the cut. I really love my Milwaukee cordless vacuum. I've got a Bosch router that I love. And here's a couple things that didn't make the cut. My my Delta drill press, my Metabo miter saw, my little bench grinder. So, you know, and I've got a bunch more that I love. But those are my favorites. So power tools are awesome. Every man loves power tools, and I really do love using them, and I love how easy they make a lot of jobs. You know, I don't know how all them guys did it back in the day. I don't know how they built a damn house without power tools. It's amazing what they could accomplish without them. You think about what it really takes to do to build something without power tools. It's just how much work it took. I just can't believe it. So I'm lucky that we got them. I feel lucky that we have them, and I'm lucky to own the ones I do. So anyway, like I always say in all my videos like this, let me know in the comments, what are y'all's favorite power tools? You know, there's so many, and there's such a huge amount of brands and types of power tools. You know, you could talk about this forever. That's why there's so many YouTube channels that do just power tools. So that's my favorite ones, and let me know in the comments what you like. I'm interested to know, because there's so many different kinds. Everybody loves power tools, so let us all know what your favorite power tools are. So anyway, thanks for watching.